Hey guys, Gravity here, bringing you guys another tier list. Hope you guys enjoy. Last one a lot of you liked. I got a lot of shade for my last one doing Black Ops Zombies Wonder Weapons. A lot of you have your favorites, just like I do. But yeah, a lot of you seem to like that concept, so I'm going to be going through this. I'll have disclaimers as we go. There's not as many disclaimers for the maps as there were with Wonder Weapons, but like, one thing I want to say now is I'm going to try to be as objective as possible, kind of like I was with the Wonder Weapons. I have a lot of maps here that I love a lot, but of course objectively maybe aren't as good as other maps. So I'm going to try my best to be objective and judge off the aesthetic of the map, how it plays, difficulty, Wonder Weapon, and a few other things like that. And again, I'm going to try to be as objective as possible. And yeah, I like making these. I hopefully will have more commentaries and videos like this in the future. Let me know what you guys think down below. Leave a like if you do enjoy, subscribe if you're new, and yeah, let's get right into this, boys. So we're going to go in order, starting from Black Ops 1. And again, there's a few disclaimers. I'd like to give credit to the man who made this, Ultimus 10, excuse me, on Twitter. He made this template, and I believe when he made it, he did it before the last two DLCs were made for Black Ops 4, but that's okay. And there's a few other maps out, like the Giant, and then we're also going to be doing both Mob of the Deads, just because they're so different. But yeah, we'll go through all those disclaimers as we go. I really appreciate it. Let's get started and see where we end up in half an hour or so, because I'm sure it's going to be all over the place and be just as toxic as our first one. But alright, yeah, let's get right into this. So our first map is going to be Nacht or Untoten. Of course, was in World at War Zombies, and then was sort of remastered for Black Ops 1 Zombies, although it wasn't super different. But Nacht or Untoten, again, I'm probably going to move a lot of these as we go, because I like a lot of zombie maps. A lot of them are really good, so I don't want to have them all in like A tier or S tier, B tier, so I'm going to try my best to be objective and again move them down as we go, or up if necessary. So Nacht or Untoten, very simple map, not much to it. I like the fact it was scary in the first few versions of the map. Somewhat difficult. I mean, solo isn't really the hardest. You can just train and get Thunder Gun. I'm going to say this isn't the greatest map. We're just going to start in C tier. I could see it being a D tier map. Again, noted, I love these maps. So I'm going to say it one more time. I'm going to try to be objective. Like, although I love this map compared to all the other fantastic maps, I think it's either going to be a high D tier or a low C tier. And again, there's a few things to consider as well with like Verrukt and Shima and Riese we're going to get into. Like the infinite damage guns and how weak zombies get and some other stuff like that. But once we get through these first few maps in Black Ops 1, I think it'll get a lot more interesting. It just makes it a little bit more confusing because a lot of the Black Ops 1 maps were remastered like twice and some of them 3 times. So again, try and stick with me here. Hopefully this is easy to follow and hopefully pretty straightforward. But yeah, Nacht will leave, I think, low C tier. I don't think it was like a bad map because it's the first zombies map ever, right? So you got to give it some credit, but I think we got to be objective. I'm going to try not to base it off when the map was made. I'm going to just try to base it off how fun is it now compared to all the others. That may be a bad like unit to go by, but I think we're gonna do that. So compared to all those, I think we're gonna go with D tier for Nacht. Verrukt, I think you have to say, is a little better, right? Verrukt is probably a little scarier, way cooler aesthetic. I mean, if you played that when you were younger, it was terrifying. Of course, in the original Verrukt, there's Winter's Howl as the Wonder Weapon, but then Black Ops 3, the Wonder Waff is the Wonder Weapon. Doesn't really change too much from the Black Ops 1 to Black Ops 3 version, in my opinion. I'm going to put this as probably a low C tier map. Pretty fun, but then it's pretty small, not a whole lot to it, not a big Easter egg or anything like that. So next we get into Numa, and of course, it's basically the same as the others. I think Shinu is probably above Nacht, but not as good as Verrukt. Shinu, it's like, you know, they're all kind of the same vibe. Numa isn't quite as scary. It's a little bit easier. It's just the Wonder Waff as the Wonder Weapon. Yeah, I think we'll leave that D tier for now, and again, we'll move these as we go, but I think that's fine for now. So I'm getting Riese, which is weird because World at War Riese versus Black Ops 1 Riese, like these other maps, are very different. But then there's the Giant, and I'm gonna say this now, if this were the Giant, you know, I could do both, but I'm just gonna do Riese for now. But if I had the Giant, I would definitely put the Giant higher than Riese, wherever I put it here, because on the Giant, I like the implementation of the Black Ops 3 perks and double packs, and I like that it's still a very difficult map, but in a lot of ways both versions are similar. So Riese, maybe a C tier, because like it's like a classic map, right? It's like the ray gun. It's a classic map. Everyone loves it. It's simple. Nothing too crazy. There's not an Easter egg. Well, you know, we can debate about the Annihilator later, but Riese. I mean, camping's a classic. Super fun to play with your friends. I want to say low C tier still, because it's not a map I would go back and play that much. Even on the Giant, it's probably, everyone watching this, that's probably your least played map, or like in your bottom 3 of like, at least of Black Ops 3 or even of Black Ops 1. Hopefully everything is more justified by the end. So then we get into the DLCs. This actually gets a little bit more exciting, and again, so many more remasters of Kino, 5, Ascension. These all have remasters, so it's hard to, you know, be, you know, to be precise on all this. I keep saying that, but it is very true. Kino der Toten, absolutely a classic map. Everyone loves it. It gets a little repetitive, but that might be a good thing, you know? Again, it's like the Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2 ray gun. It's such a classic. It's simple. It's fun. It's not too easy. Like solo, I think Kino is definitely a very easy map for sure on Black Ops 1 or 3. But when you're playing co-op, it's not the easiest thing. It's definitely a bigger map, has some little Easter eggs. Is it better than these? I think it's better than those maps, right? I mean, it's not as scary, but is it harder? I guess Kino would be easier, right? So this is so difficult, man. It's like a classic. It's like I want to put it up here just because how notorious it is. You know, it's a cool map. The theater, obviously a good idea. You know, nothing crazy with the wonder weapons yet. We're all just the wonder waff and then thunder gun for Kino. You know, I'm not getting like a super exciting vibe about Kino. I don't think Kino is like anybody's favorite map, but again, for Black Ops 1, I guess, maybe. I think I'll leave it here. I think it's better than these two just because, you know, I think people probably like the Thunder Gun more. People probably like the fact it's a little easier. But I think the map itself, aesthetically, is worse than Verrukt. But I think Kino belongs high C tier. I mean, that would make sense to me. I mean, again, this is going to get so crazy as we go. You guys are going to hate some of my opinions. I'm going to be a tiny bit biased on some maps, probably. But, again, try my best to be objective. I think Kino belongs there. Alright, so now we'll move on to 5. 5, definitely a difficult map, which I like. Solo, of course, like most other maps, you know, there are high round strategies that work very well, and there are people who have made it 200 plus, which is crazy. But you cannot argue that 5 is an easy map on co-op. I mean, when you play 2-player, 3-player, 4-player, 5, it is like difficult for Black Ops 1 to make it past round 5 or 10, no pun intended. So I really like the map. You know, aesthetically, historically, it's a lot of fun. What is it? It's the Winter's Howl as the wonder weapon, right? That's definitely cool. It's not too, I think in the Black Ops 1 version, it's worse than the Black Ops 4 version of, you know, classified. Gosh, this is so difficult, man. Like, I think the Black Ops 1 maps are the hardest because I've played them the least, and, or at least, like, the original Black Ops 1 maps. I've played all these on Black Ops 3 a million times, but again, I'm going to try and go off my Black Ops 1 knowledge. 5 is a very small map, not much to it, which I'd say is a bad thing, but still a very cool map regardless. I think it's either going to be right above Kino or right below Kino, right? I mean, that seems about right to me, because there's more to do in 5 than the 4 originals. It's definitely challenging, which is cool. You got the doctor, the laboratory, you know, you got the Pack-a-Punch, the Winter's Howl. I think it's definitely a cool map. Is it better than Kino, though? In my opinion, I like 5 more because it's harder. But objectively, as a map, I think 5 is probably better than Kino. But again, Kino is such a classic. Everyone loves Kino, right? That's tough, man. Maybe 5's too difficult for, like, beginners. Man, this is so toxic, man. This is brutal. I really don't know. This is going to be harder than the Wonder Weapons. At least Wonder Weapons I can go off, like, you know, raw power and how good they are. But the maps, it's hard because everyone has different opinions, right? Okay, here's what we're going to do. I would personally rather play 5 than Kino. So I think I'm going to leave 5 there. I think there's more to do on 5. I think people, well, Thunder Gun people probably like that more, but I think what 5, I believe 5 has more to do. I think it's a better map overall, probably more time put into it. Then we get to Ascension, a very boring, a very easy map. I don't think Ascension is anyone's favorite map. I think Ascension, again, compared to maps these days, it's so boring, it's so dull. Like, even the Black Ops 3 version is the easiest map in Zombies history, arguably with Revelations, but, Ascension, a very easy map, very boring. Like, it's big, but all we get is the Thunder Gun, which we've already seen. You get the dolls. We've already, you know, no one likes getting those. So I don't think Ascension has too much to offer. I mean, the Easter egg is decent. I think we're going to keep that low D tier for now. That seems about right to me. Then right into Call of the Dead. I like Call of the Dead personally. A lot of people are stressed with the map. A lot of people don't like that there's not an infinite damage wonder weapon, but I actually kind of like that because, of course, there's 2 wonder weapons. You have the sniper and you have the can't even remember the name of the other wonder weapon, but there's 2 wonder weapons, and I like the map because it's hard in solo. I think the world record for this map is only like 90, but then co-op is a lot of fun, a lot more, you know, strategy based because of the wonder weapon. We talked about this in my last tier list. Call of the Dead, where do we put it? Is it better than these two? Is it B tier? I mean, I think it's a solid map. I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's kind of scary, you know, at least for your first few times playing it. And, you know, at least feels like a good zombies vibe to me. I personally like the map a lot. You know, there's a lot to do. 2 wonder weapons. Of course, you got George chasing you the whole time. This is so difficult, man. Because, again, I'm trying to say, listen, I know a lot of these Black Ops 2 and 3 maps are going to be like A, B tier, maybe S. So, like, I don't want to put them all, because all these, you know, like 3 of these, maybe 4 or 5, I know are really good. I'd put them in B tier because they're just good maps and they're fun. But, again, I got to compare to all the maps and try to keep it balanced throughout the tier list. So, Call of the Dead, I think, is probably a low B tier map. Now, I'm going to be objective here. I think it's better that the map is harder because the wonder weapons don't do infinite damage. I think that's a better good thing, as opposed to people who are like, well, it's harder, and, you know, I want a wonder weapon that's more fun to use. I can see that. Like, none of these maps have fun wonder weapons to use except for Kino. But, you know, again, you can't base the map off the wonder weapon alone. The map itself, it's alright. I mean, I can see why it's not that great, but I think aesthetically the map is so cool. I think we'll leave this low B tier, but maybe we'll change that as we go. Alrighty, then we get to Shangri-La. Another good map. Black Ops 1 is full of these awesome maps. I think Shangri-La is another low B tier map. I mean, the wonder weapon's awesome. Goes with the map, sorta. Whatever that means, you know. I think we all like the wonder weapon. The map is hard. People like a hard map. I personally love a hard map. And Shangri-La is one of the few maps where even with double packs on Black Ops 3, it still was a hard map. I really like that. I think Shangri-La is a great map. You're in the jungle. It's a pretty cool aesthetic. And, it's definitely difficult, fun to do co-op or solo, still hard, so I think it's B tier. Is it better than Call of the Dead? I would say, I mean, solo, they're about the same difficulty, but people would actually argue Shangri-La is easier solo, yeah, because you have the wonder weapon, of course, and the traps. So, how do we judge this? I think these two are definitely the B tier. Is Shangri-La worse or better than Call of the Dead? I'm going to think... I think aesthetically, Call of the Dead wins, right? Wonder weapon wise, they're both very cool, but Shangri-La has the more powerful wonder weapon. I think I'm going to leave Shangri-La below Call of the Dead just because I think in terms of the map, people would say maybe it's too difficult to play co-op. And I think aesthetically it also loses some points. So for now, objectively, I'm going to leave Shangri-La as slightly worse than Call of the Dead as a map. But again, still a great map. I love it. It's difficult. It's cool. But yeah, let's move on. Moon. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I haven't played too much Moon, like, at all. I've watched a lot, and I've played a decent amount on Black Ops 3 Moon, which would make this easier for me to put on the tier list. But Black Ops 1 Moon, I think Moon aesthetically is one of the coolest maps. I'd say it's probably cooler than Shangri-La aesthetically. But of course, it's still a very easy map once you get the wonder weapon. And of course, you have the hacker. I mean, it's definitely a very cool map. Very cool. But of course, it is frustrating sometimes to set up and get things prepared for high rounds. And it can be a little tedious at times. Moon. Definitely a cool map, right? I think Moon belongs on these 3. This is our last Black Ops 1 map. And I think these Black Ops 1 DLCs belong here, like, in this order. I think we're looking pretty good so far if we left it like this. Is Moon better than Shangri-La? Aesthetically, yes. But Moon is easier than Shangri-La. I think maybe Moon stays there. Just because I don't like how easy Moon is. That's probably my biggest concern. But of course the astronaut's very cool. Same with, you know, Call of the Dead. The AI chasing you around. Very cool. This is tough. I don't want to think about it too much. I think for now we're just going to leave it here in the B tier, somewhere in here. We'll move it around maybe. Again, I don't have a whole lot of experience on Moon, so you guys all have to help me on the comments. You guys can all go roast me. I know you're all going to. And that already brings us to Black Ops 2, if you guys can believe it. It's going to go through really quick here. Black Ops 1 has the most maps, actually, which is crazy. Well, I think BO4 actually has more, but, well, BO4 has, what, 8, and this has 10, so... Yeah, okay, so Black Ops 2, listen, I know what you're all thinking, right? You're all like, he made a Transit tier. This is where Transit goes, right? You're all wrong. Transit is not getting Transit tier. It's just... Listen, I'm being objective here. I love Transit. Well, I like it. I don't love it. I like Transit, but I'm going to be objective still. Transit is hard, scary if you're, you know, first playing it, or, you know, if you're younger or whatever. It's one of the more scary maps. Difficult, which, of course, I already mentioned. The only problem is it's too tedious, and then the next biggest complaint people would rant about was the denizens, which I'm not seeing a huge issue with. Like, in my opinion, I would have made the denizens appear less often than they do, because they're on you, like, every second. That's a little annoying, but I really do think Transit's a solid map, like, because it's difficult to get to high rounds, it's difficult solo, co-op. I think the only thing that I would improve about Transit is, again, I would tweak the denizens, and I would make a better wonder weapon. If there was a good wonder weapon on Transit, like if the jet gun had infinite ammo or something, you know, something a little better than the jet gun now, which you have to glitch just to use, I think Transit would be a fantastic map. I mean, of course, I'd make the setup a little less tedious, but... Alright, enough with me ranting. Where does GravityDrop believe this belongs? I really don't think it's the worst. I don't think it's an F tier map. I'm just being honest. Like, objectively, yeah, sure, maybe it's a little tedious. It's very frustrating, believe me. But if you're good at Transit, like, the setup really doesn't take that long. I played it just a few days ago with my friend Corey. He's probably down in the comments roasting me right now, but we actually had a lot of fun, and we were able to set up in, like, 30 minutes, 20 minutes. Like, that's not that bad at all. So the question is, where does it go? I mean, you guys are all going to be like, no, Transit's not better than these maps, but I'm being honest with you. I genuinely believe Transit goes up here. You guys can roast me, seriously, rant for hours. I know what you're thinking. It's so, tedious is bad, right? But if Transit weren't tedious, what else is bad about it? Like, I personally love a big map. I think everyone agrees a big map is better, right? I think the bus is a cool concept, because if you get stuck on the bus or you miss the bus, you're in trouble. Like, it's great for noobs. It's a good high round map. I mean, it's not easy. Like, I could be wrong, but I believe Transit's world record, I would be almost certain it's not 200 plus. Like, it's probably in the hundreds, which is a good thing, because that means the map isn't too easy. But, like, if you don't know how to use the jet gun, or you don't build the jet gun, or, you know, if you didn't glitch the jet gun, Transit would be a very difficult map, and I personally like that, because a lot of maps these days aren't that difficult, and, you know, the developers give us too many things that make it easy. But again, I do understand the argument. It's too tedious, too big, it's too frustrating to play co-op, because if your friends die, you can't revive them. There's a lot of complaints. I see it, but you have to remember too, the Easter egg is cool. I think the map is very cool. Like, my favorite part of Transit is the cornfield, the corn maze. I think that is so cool when you go and see Nacht and Toten. I think that's awesome. I love a lot of things about it. But I do see all the bad things as well. So where does Transit belong? This is probably one of the hardest decisions of this whole thing, because again, obviously people think Transit's the worst map of all time just because some zombie YouTubers clickbaited you back in 2013 for money. I get it. You all believe them. It's really not that bad. It's a fun map. I don't know. I really don't know. I definitely personally like it more than most of these maps. I would personally put it here. But do I think it's a B tier map? I think it's probably high C tier. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think why it wouldn't be maybe here. I think this is where it'll belong for now, because I think it's better than Kino. Yeah, there's definitely more to do than Kino. But I think 5 people would say is more of a classic and is a cooler map and much easier for high rounds, even though 5 still remains to be a very difficult map. So for now, we're leaving Transit there. I know you're all hating me. I know. I've spent 5 minutes talking about me liking Transit. I know. I know. You guys are all like, I'm about to create 15 accounts and dislike. I know. But we're going to leave it there. I've explained myself very thoroughly. I think it's a solid map. It has a ton of issues, but at the end of the day, there's a lot to do, and a lot to do means the map is more replayable. I'm playing Transit 5-10 years after it's out, and I still have fun, and it's still challenging. bro, no one is playing Riese like now and thinking it's a hard map and it's fun. Like, no one does that, right? And that's why I like Tranzit. I really do think it belongs up there on the list, maybe higher, but of course I could see the argument for lower. But for now, Tranzit's going to remain in C tier, right below 5. I think that'll make a lot of you happy, even though I know you're all saying Kino's better. But I don't know, I like Tranzit. It's a starting map, it's a classic, it's fun, it's challenging. We're leaving it there. And then we get into our Black Ops 2 DLC. Forgive me if I'm wrong, I believe Die Rise was first. It may have been Mob of the Dead very well, but we're gonna just go with Die Rise first. I love this map, I love the aesthetic, I love the vertical concept of going up elevators, jumping off roofs and buildings to travel and traverse the map. I really do like this. Solid map overall. Don't worry, I don't think we're gonna put this A tier. I think we'll put it maybe high B tier. The Silkifire is a fantastic wonder weapon. Even though it's been nerfed, it is super fun to use. You cannot disagree with me there. Everyone loves it. It's fun to use. It's super powerful. You know, it goes with the map. I think Die Rise is a solid map. Now again, Die Rise is kind of like Tranzit. You all hate it because you think it's too frustrating and hard to set up, but it's, again, just like Tranzit. I played Die Rise just the other day, guys. It takes like 20 minutes to set up. It's not that bad if you're a good player. It's definitely doable. You know, you have the bank, you have the locker. Yeah, I think Die Rise is aesthetically a great map. For high rounds, now here's another thing I like, is Die Rise is hard to get to high rounds. The world record for Die Rise is like 125, 130 maybe. And then, like, once you go, like, no jug or no perks or no power, it drops to, like, 90, 100. Like, this is a hard map. Again, that's, like, one of my key things, because a lot of these Black Ops 3 and 4 maps, and even Black Ops 1, a lot of these maps are so easy, they're not fun, and I know a lot of you can relate, and some of you can't. You know, we can agree to disagree, but I think Die Rise is a solid map, has a great wonder weapon, it's fun, it's challenging. It's a little frustrating, like Tranzit. I'll grant you all that. It's a little frustrating, I totally understand, but I think the fact that Silkifire is so fun, and the fact that you can get Tramplestein and you can build all these other things, and there's just so much to do on the map. Easter egg is not one I've personally done a lot. I only ever did it once, like 6 years ago. It's not the greatest Easter egg, I'll grant you that. But I still think it's a solid map. It's very fun. I think the building concept is very cool. The mystery box has, you know, good weapons. It's a lot of fun, so I think Die Rise is going to stay at the top of B tier. It's a solid map, plays out relatively well. It's not too buggy. Alright, then to the next map. This is where it gets really emotional. This is where people get really attached. People love or hate Mob of the Dead. Mob of the Dead, man. Fantastic map. I think we can all agree. We all love Mob of the Dead. Now, if you're playing solo, it can be a little easy to get to high rounds. I'll admit it. But in co-op, or if you're a casual player, or if you like doing Easter eggs, this is a fantastic map. I mean, it plays out beautifully. It is scary, it is hard, it is difficult, there's jump scares, there's Easter eggs, there's, you know, the songs. There's so many good weapons in the mystery box. Oh gosh, I can't even think of his name. You have the, what's his name? Warden. You have the, oh my gosh. My brain is so small. You have the Warden chasing you. I mean, this is such a solid map. People love the Blundergats. They're so freaking badass. We all know they are. We all love to have them. You can get the free one, so there's 2 wonder weapons on the map, theoretically, and you can have 2 at a time, so definitely very cool concept. Most people love Mob of the Dead. Very fun to dox, makes it fun. You feed the wolves, the Hell's Retriever. Super badass, super fun. So, I think Mob of the Dead is going to stay an A tier map. I mean, that seems pretty good to me. It's such a solid map, a beautiful piece of work. Yeah, I mean, it's terrifying your first couple times playing it. Even when you play, it's just so eerie, and, you know, that's the word I've been looking for a lot of these maps. Even if they don't scare you because you're older than the age of 15. You know, they're still eerie, and that's supposed to be the vibe Zombies was going for back in the day. And it's the vibe they went for in the past 5 years, but it failed so bad. Yeah, I mean, I really like Mob of the Dead personally. I think objectively it's a good map. Aesthetically, wonderful. We go to the Golden Gate Bridge. Fantastic Easter egg. It's super emotional. It's super fun. Yeah, I'm leaving Mob of the Dead as A tier. That seems about right to me. Super fun map. It's got that perfect difficulty. Again, I'll admit, in solo, it's only a little easy because of traps, and, you know, that's like just the meta of high rounders and competitive gaming. You find one good thing about a map, you exploit it, and I'm not going to cost the map for that reason, just because in co-op it's still super difficult. And then we're gonna get to my all-time favorite map, Black Ops 2 Buried. It's a little bias. I'm gonna keep my bias out of this because I personally think aesthetically it's my favorite map, but again, I can't go off my personal favoritism and aesthetics. So Buried, fantastic map still. Everyone loves the Paralyzer. Don't tell me you don't love the Paralyzer. You want to use it. You want to, you know, use it for high rounds, low rounds, setup, to fly. It's such an awesome wonder weapon. The map itself is super fun. You have Leroy to mess with, the candy, the booze. You have such a big map there, which is a good thing. Just like Mob of the Dead, there's so much in Buried. Like, it seems small at first until you realize you can go, you know, up in the mine system, in the mine shafts. You can go to the witch's house. You can go to the maze. You can go to Pack-a-Punch. You know, there's a spawn. I mean, there's so much to Buried. The Easter egg is super fun, super rewarding. Of course, Buried's a little easy compared to some of the other maps. You can camp till like round 50 without even thinking. I understand that. It's definitely one of the easier Black Ops 2 maps, if not the easiest. But it's still a solid map because in co-op it's definitely difficult to get higher than maybe 50 plus, maybe 60, 70. Of course, high rounders can do it, but yeah, I mean, it's got the time bombs. I think the aesthetic is beautiful. I really do like Buried. I think it's a solid map. And, I mean, it's super eerie as well when you are playing it, especially when you go in that witch's house. If you played Black Ops 2 Buried, if you were younger than age 15, 14, 13, whatever, you cannot tell me the witch's house your first couple times didn't scare the crap out of you, man. I played that at like 3 a.m. and I like almost cried because I was like 11, 12 years old playing it, but... Again, I love the map. I think it's super fun. There's so much to do in it, so much to explore, and it just plays out really nice. It's a little easy, which is one thing that'll weigh it down a little. Like, if the subsurface resonator wasn't in the map, or if the Paralyzer wasn't as powerful, this map would probably be one of the best maps of all time, but just because how easy it is with Leroy getting points, the bank, the locker, the traps, the buildables, it's going to be a little bit lower. Is it better than Mob of the Dead? That's a good question. I think they're probably really close. I think it depends on your preference. My personal preference would say Buried. But I believe I'm going to leave as Mob of the Dead just because Mob of the Dead, you know, you're meant to feel like you're in a prison and it's supposed to be eerie and difficult. And I think Mob of the Dead really achieved its goal in that sense. And, you know, there's the 200 weapons. So I think Mob of the Dead's going to stay right here. Buried right here. I honestly could see either of these maps being S tier. But we'll see as we go, because I know this. And then we get into our last Black Ops 2 DLC, Origins. For most of you watching this right now, I think if you all had to pick your favorite map of all time, I think the most picked map would probably be Origins, and for good reason. Personally, it's not my favorite, but it is a fantastic map because it plays out so well for high rounds. It's difficult on low rounds. The stats are so fun. They're not too difficult to get. Aesthetically, the map could definitely be better, I'll be honest, but, you know, you're in the middle of a war zone. It's pretty cool, honestly. I think I have to leave Origins as S tier just because the staffs... It was the first map where you could get 4 different, like, elemental wonder weapons, I believe. 99.9% sure on that, yeah. I mean, everyone loved the staffs, right? Everyone loved them all, especially in the Black Ops 2. Like, BO3, people were more picky about staffs because of gobblegums and double packs, but Black Ops 2 Origins, man... Fantastic map. We all loved it when it first came out. We grinded it. It plays out great for high rounds because it comes down to a lot of ammo and how resourceful you are, and it requires clutching. The mud makes it difficult. Plays out so well in solo or co-op. I mean, camping definitely ruins the map a little. Camping makes it a little too easy, but that's more so in Black Ops 3 where it gets way too easy to camp. I think Black Ops 2 plays out very, very, very nice. Definitely one of the better maps, or best maps of all time. Everyone loves the staffs. I don't think there's a huge debate here. Again, I'd fix some things about it. I think just the fact that everyone can get a staff, and that the map plays out so well, I think it has to be our S tier map. I mean, it plays out so well with the dig spots and the tank. You know, it allows for you to get, like, drops, max ammos. You know, there's the G-strikes. The Easter egg is pretty cool. There's so much to this map. I think you have to leave it here. Definitely one of the best maps of Zombies history. It's why they remastered it for BO3. It's why it's the most played map on BO3. Might not be like that every day, but last I checked, Origins was the most played map on Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3, which is pretty insane. So Origins is going to keep the top of our list for now. And then we get to Black Ops 3, and we have some fantastic maps here. So our first map, we have Shadows of Evil, and this is a fantastic map as well. A lot of you are going to hate me. I think this belongs in S tier. I really do, and let me make my case objectively here. Personally, the aesthetic is beautiful, and it's awesome. You're in this big city. It you know, looks great whether or not you like that concept. It is a really big map. It's super cool. They definitely put a lot of work into it. It kind of plays out like Origins for high rounds, at least in some sense, right? I don't think it's as good as Origins. I could see it being maybe high A tier, actually. but I mean, maybe I have some personal bias. I've played Shadows of Evil a lot. I just think it plays out so well if you play like no jug or no power, no perks. If you like put those little challenges on, I think it's definitely as good as Origins because how difficult it is to make high rounds and how well you have to play and conserve your ammo. Of course, it's definitely a little too easy if you're playing solo using everything, but I really do think Shadows of Evil plays out really, really nice. And I'm just trying to think here. I'm just trying to make my case. So you have the Apothicon Servant as well. One of most people's like favorite wonder weapon of all time, if not like the Ice Staff. I mean, or like the Lightning Bow. But Apothicon Servant is a fantastic wonder weapon. I think it goes with the map decently. The Easter egg isn't the best, but I think it's pretty fun, pretty rewarding. I think Shadows of Evil just plays out really well because co-op or solo, it's not too easy, not too hard. It's in that perfect middle ground. It's not super eerie, but it wasn't really going for that vibe. It was the opening map to the new series and the new game, so it was really cool to meet the new characters. It was really cool to go to the docks and the boxing ring, and then you go all the way to the Ruby Rabbit and the Burlesque, and I think personally it's a really cool map. I think aesthetically it's beautiful. I think it's a really big map, which as always good. You know, same with Origins, Buried, Mob of the Dead. Big maps are almost always better because it means there's more to the map, it means there's more to do, it means there's more to look at. So Shadows of Evil, I think people would hate me if I put it in S tier. It's such a good map. I really do believe Shadows of Evil is one of the best maps. It plays out so nicely. You have the pods, you have the Margwas, the traps, the beast modes, you know, the Easter egg. I really think this map plays out very well, but I think people do like Origins more, and Shadows of Evil is probably a little bit more tedious and difficult, at least for the setup, although the high rounds are probably easier. I think we'll leave Shadows of Evil high A tier. That seems about right to me. Again, let me know down below how wrong I am. I know you guys are all going to be there. Der Eisendrache. One of the most solid maps of all time. I think we all love it. I think it nearly belongs there. So here's my case for Der Eisendrache. It's an easy map for high rounds. It is. It is an easy map for solo or co-op. But here's my argument for Der Eisendrache. You have the Easter egg, which is fantastic, and the bows, and that's honestly all you need. I think people probably like the bows more than they like the Origin staffs. I could be going on a limb there. I'd have to poll you guys, but I think people prefer the lightning bow over the ice staff. I think people prefer the wolf bow over the wind staff. I don't know. I just think Der Eisendrache plays out super well. Again, maybe it's super easy. Like, it's not that hard. You know, the setup can be a little difficult, but I think the map is just so nostalgic and people just got so attached to it, and the map is so likable. I think I have to leave this either high A tier or low S tier. I mean, it plays out really nice. It could have more. Again, I think it could be a lot harder. But, I mean, overall, I think it plays out pretty well as a map. My only issue with Der Eisendrache, again, is that it's too easy, right? For co-op, you can easily 100 plus this map. Solo, easily can 200 plus it. Which, again, makes you think it wouldn't be that good. But I think the bows and Easter egg make the map just so nostalgic. I think we'll leave it high A tier. That's just what I think fits best. I don't think it hits that Origins level just because Origins is a little bit more difficult. You know, Origins is a little bit more nostalgic, and that's why people like Der Eisendrache, is because it's a lot like Origins. I think Der Eisendrache belongs here. I mean, it seems about right to me. Personally, I like Shadows of Evil more than both. Shadows of Evil is definitely more difficult than Der Eisendrache, but again, I think Der Eisendrache is so nostalgic. The bows are fantastic. They're all fun to build, except Void and Fire. A little frustrating, but they're all fun to build. They're all super, super fun to use. The Easter egg is fantastic. I think that seems about right to me. Alrighty, and then we get to Gorod, Krovi. Very fun map. One of my personal favorites, but again, no bias in this, or at least trying not to. Oh, let's see. The map plays out well. I like Gorod Krovi because it's difficult. There's one issue. There's 3 maps like this for the rest of the series. There's like 3 or 4 maps like this. The whole map is beautiful, difficult, hard, or at least in the difficulty, the whole map is hard, right? And then there's 3 or 4 maps where there's just one strategy that ruins the whole thing. And with Gorod Krovi, it's the shield strategy. But when you're setting up in Gorod Krovi, you're doing the Easter egg and mid rounds. It's a hard map. It really is. I mean, but the problem is everyone just abuses the shield strat where you can just spam the shield in a corner. And of course, it makes high rounds very easy in solo or co-op, which it frustrates me because I love Gorod Krovi, but I don't think that takes away too much from the map because, you know, high rounds isn't everything. I mean, Gorod Krovi, in my opinion, is the best Easter egg in all zombies up to this point. except maybe a couple. There's a couple that are really good, but Gorod Krovi is a fantastic Easter egg. Let me explain to you why. If you do any Black Ops 3 Easter egg right now, if you bring classic Gobblegums, you could probably do it first try, solo or co-op, you know, assuming you're decent at it. Gorod Krovi with classic gums is not easy. I don't care who you are out there. I know all of you out there are confident and you're all cocky and you think everything's easy. And of course, if if you practice and play as much as I do, yeah, I could probably do the Gorod Krovi Easter egg first try. But for 99% of players, Gorod Krovi Easter egg with classic gums is not easy. Maybe even if you do get it your first try, you're not going to do every challenge first try. You're going to mess up somewhere. It's not easy because you have the challenges, there's the puzzles. The boss fight is super difficult, at least compared to the others. Again, if you bring Mega Gums, yes, it's easy. If you get lucky Gob Cycles, yes, it's easy. If you get a lot of max ammos, yeah, maybe that helps. But Gorod Krovi, in my opinion, has the best Black Ops 3 Easter egg. It's fun, it's challenging, it's like chronological, it actually feels productive, unlike a lot of other Easter eggs where it feels like you're kind of just doing random steps until something happens. I think Gorod Krovi plays out really well. It feels like a Black Ops 2 map in the difficulty, at least for the setup, because the Wonder Weapon isn't too OP, and I think that's a good thing, right? Especially because how OP the shield is. I think it's a good thing the Wonder Weapon doesn't do unlimited damage, the Ray Gun Mark 3s. I think it plays out really well. There's a lot of fun guns. There's a lot of things to do on the map. The map is relatively big. So now, no more ranting. Where does it belong? Gorod Krovi. Again, in my opinion, it's the best Easter egg. It's super fun. It's super hard. Again, I challenge you all. If you all want something different to do, something fun, because you think Black Ops 3 is too easy or something, go try and do the Gorod Krovi Easter egg. Maybe no Gobblegums. Challenge yourself. Try to do the Gorod Krovi Easter egg without Gobblegums, solo or co-op. You are going to struggle unless you're, a group of world record hunters. Then yeah, maybe it's a little easy, but this is a challenging Easter egg. It's super fun. It's super rewarding. The map itself is awesome. You're in the middle. It's another war zone. You're in this fallen city of Stalingrad. Super cool. You have the dragons. You get the fist, the gauntlet, the shield. So many cool things on this map. My only criticism is that, of course, they made it with the shield. Makes it too easy. And that once you are set up, there's not a whole lot to do, especially in the map when you're going to be running in the same one spot the entire game. I think it belongs here, right? Maybe it belongs here. I think it's a solid map. I really do. It's a very good map, very fun to do. But again, my only complaint is high rounds is way too easy because you can just abuse the shield. And Gobblegums can Gobblegums can ruin the map, which is something to definitely at least consider. So I think Gorod Krovi is definitely better than Call of the Dead, Shangri-La Moon. These are good maps, but I think Gorod Krovi definitely outdoes them. But is it better than Die, Rise, and Buried, which are great maps? I think people would say Gorod Krovi goes here, but I think it goes somewhere within these three spots. It's either here or here for Gorod Krovi, and I'm trying to think about it here and put it in perspective. I think I'm going to leave Gorod Krovi right below Die Rise because Die Rise is a little bit more difficult, and Die Rise is a little bit more replayable. Maybe it's just me because I haven't played Die Rise in a while. But to me, Die Rise is more replayable and it's more fun to keep playing. But I think Gorod Krovi just slightly gets a little bit more repetitive and boring after your first couple times. Because again, once you complete the Easter egg on Gorod Krovi, there's not a whole lot left to do, which isn't always a terrible thing. It's still a very cool map, but I think just the fact there's a really overpowered shield strategy and the fact that high rounds, there's only one strategy you can do on Gorod Krovi, really. I think that's what constrains it, whereas opposed to Die Rise, you can train or camp in multiple areas of the map. There's more to explore. I think the map aesthetic's cooler. I think Gorod Krovi belongs here, even though, in my opinion, Gorod Krovi has the best Easter egg out of all of these. Again, I could easily see Gorod Krovi being up there. Again, Gorod Krovi is like my third favorite map of all time. I think it's super fun. I love the Easter egg so freaking much. I've tried to speedrun it. I'm not nearly as good as some of those world record holders, but I think Gorod Krovi belongs right there, and we'll leave it there until something changes. Okay, Zetsubou no Shima. Done. Okay, Revelations. I mean, what do you do about Zetsubou, right? I mean, Zetsubou's terrible. It is a terrible, terrible, terrible map. I mean, personally, I would put it in F tier. It's an F tier map, but I think here's why it's going to be Tranzit tier, right? So listen, back in the day, like 5 years ago, I made a video titled Why I Like Zetsubou no Shima, or like top 5 reasons to like Zetsubou no Shima. Like, it has some great things. Aesthetically, I think it's a fantastic map. But other than aesthetic, this map fails on so many factors. Like, it is too tedious. Like, tedious is good. Like, I like the plants being difficult to keep track of. when you have to keep track of the plants and all the parts you're picking up and your gas mask and your shield and the like Easter egg steps and like your imprint plants and like your perks, it is such a frustrating map, which would make it an F tier map. But here's why Zetsubou is getting Transit tier, because how buggy it is. A few months ago, I played Zetsubou for like a week or so straight, and here's the biggest issue. I was doing reverse rainbow perk challenges, which are very difficult, very fun, or I was doing rainbow perk challenges, one or the other. I think I did both, but like 3 out of 5 games you play on Zetsubou where you're just messing around, doing a lot of spammy things on low rounds, your game is either going to crash or you're going to hit a death barrier or your game's going to glitch or you're going to die. It is seriously beyond frustrating. It's like, it's not even Transit level. It's worse because it's almost unplayable. I mean, I was live streaming Zetsubou a few months ago, and like 2 games in a row, I hit a death barrier and died, even though I wasn't trying to glitch or do anything abnormal. Placed the last skull to go to the ritual to pick up the skull of Nansapwe, and right as I was walking down the staircase, my game hit a death barrier and I died. And this is after all patches when it was supposed to fix a lot of these. And then you get moments on Zetsubou where like zombies hit you around corners, thrashers can like, sometimes they'll one-hit you, sometimes they'll do no damage, sometimes the shield will glitch and not work. I mean, this map is just so glitchy, dude. So glitchy. You sometimes will get frame drops. The setup can be way too tedious and annoying. Like, again, like maps like Mob of the Dead, Shadows of Evil, Die Rise even, not even so much Die Rise, but like Mob of the Dead and Shadows of Evil, maybe Buried. You know, some of these others, there's a lot to do to set up, like Origins. But Zetsubou just knocks them all out of the park, man. You gotta build like a shield, of course that's fine, but you gotta also build the gas mask, which isn't that bad either. But then you gotta build the KT4, you gotta build the KT4 upgrade. That's not counting any of the Easter egg steps you might want to do if you want to get the strategy for high rounds or the perkaholic. You also got to keep track of the plants the entire time. Every single round you got to keep track of multiple plants. You got to keep track of your seeds, what water you have. Such an annoying map. Again, aesthetically, I think it's awesome. It's very eerie. But Jason Blundell said this was supposed to be the scariest map of all time, and it just wasn't. It failed on so many levels. It is taking the Transit tier. That's how you know it's bad. Like, Transit didn't even make the Transit tier, okay? Zetsubou got the Transit tier. I really didn't need to explain this, but again, there's things to like about it, but it didn't achieve its goal, and it's more frustrating than it is fun. I mean, it's also too easy. If you're playing solo, like if you're good at this, you can 255 Zetsubou. It's not that easy compared to like the Eisendrache or BO3 Origins or Shadows, but no. Alrighty, now we're into Revelations, and I'm gonna try and go off my mindset when I played Revelations like 4 or 5 years ago. You know, when it first came out and I actually had opinions on it. I don't think it's as good as I think it is now. Like, I think right now it's fun because how many wonder weapons there are, but I think that's only fun when you haven't played the map in a while, or if like you're streaming or going for world record or playing with friends. But Revelations is just so easy, like Ascension and Brain Dead. It's like almost not fun. It's seriously ridiculous. They have a mask you can put on to have like 20 hits. Like, whoever at Treyarch thought of this was probably quitting the next day. I mean, honestly, like, overall, it would be a decent map. But here's something I hated at the time, right? Something I really didn't like when it came out is that they had all these small portions of different maps, like Origins, Mob of the Dead, Shangri-La. They didn't put, like, any of the good portions of those maps in, and they just ruined them because how easy they were. Like, we all got excited because we thought, we were going to go back to Origins, but turns out all we get to do is see one generator. You don't get to turn it on. You don't get to see anything original from Origins. There's no references. Well, they have voice lines, but like, it wasn't cool. And then you go to Mob of the Dead and you get this cool eerie music, within Revelations. You go to Mob, but like, it's such a tiny aspect of the map. It's literally just a hallway and then the cafeteria, but and all these things they brought back, they're all like distorted, which was of course intended. My point is, Revelations doesn't make you feel as nostalgic as I feel like it should, right? Like, people thought when you play Revelations, you would miss all these old maps and want to play them, but, like, you don't even feel that way for most of them, because the map's so easy, brain dead. I mean, I think Revelations has some good aspects. I think it's a decent concept to hop from island to island. I think having all the wonder weapons makes it way too overpowered and boring, but at the same time, it kind of makes it fun when you're doing the Easter egg, because a bunch of people can get Ragnaroks and Arnie's. Like, There are fun aspects of Revelations, but in terms of a map itself, it didn't achieve its goal. People don't like playing it. It's not replayable. Where does Revelations get? D tier maybe? Does it deserve the F tier? I don't think it deserves F tier because, again, it has some fun aspects. Is it better than these three, though? I think it's better than these three because, again, I'm trying to go objectively as how fun the maps are now and not when they're made. Like, sure, when these maps were made, they may have been better, more aesthetically pleasing, and graphically intensive. But now, you know, a map like Nacht, I think most people would play Revelations because the entire Nacht map is in Revelations. So Revelations is definitely more of an impressive map. You know, it's more extensive, it's beautiful, you know, has these cool wonder weapons. The Apothecon Servant upgrade is very cool, but super overpowered. I don't know what they were thinking. I think we put this C tier. I think it would belong right here. My argument for this is I could see it being below Verrukt. Yeah, I could see this, but I think objectively, there's just so much to do in Revelations, along with the Easter egg you have to put here. Also noted, the Revelations Easter egg is a joke. It's boring, and the boss fight is so easy. You're like, how is this the final Easter egg ever? Like, I don't even want to get started, but I think this is where it belongs. I think Kino is just so much more, you know, nostalgic. I think that's why I'll leave it above Revelations. Kino's also harder than Revelations. Again, personally, I like Revelations. I think if you do challenges, like if you guys are bored on Revelations, you want how to excite, you know, how to make it more exciting, try no perks or no power. You will have fun and you will find it challenging. Trust me. So I definitely recommend you guys do that with no gobblegums or maybe classics. Go try no perks or especially no power, no gums. You're not gonna hit 200 like you know, always can on this map. So I think it belongs here. Maybe we'll move it, but I think that's probably a good spot for now. Then we get into Black Ops 4, the glorious Call of Duty Black Ops 4. The game they put no effort into, the game that had no funding, the game that had no time, the game that had no care whatsoever, the game that only cared about noobs, the game that literally wouldn't patch simple things like queuing for a public match in rush mode, which still isn't a thing. I don't understand. So many complaints, but let's get into the maps and try and judge them objectively here. So we get into map 9. 9 isn't the greatest map. I think it's a cool concept to be in a gladiator arena. I think it plays out decently. It wasn't super easy. I think the Leviathan Wonder Weapon does actually play out relatively well in the map. But listen to this concept. You all think, imagine 9, imagine your thoughts of it, imagine the spawn room, right? Imagine how much cooler 9 would be if it was at nighttime. Just like, boom, imagine everything changes. It's nighttime in the spawn room. There's flames that light up the arena. Would that not have just made the map like 5 times better there alone? But the truth of the matter is, all maps in Black Ops 4, or maybe at least most of them, and a lot in Black Ops 3 towards the end, you know, with modern Call of Duties, they cater to new audiences. They cater to young kids that play. They cater to noobs and bad players. So they try to make the map bright, colorful, and easy, and that's what they achieved with 9. It's not the worst map of Black Ops 4, but I just don't think it plays out that well. I mean, it's really not that bad. I'm trying to like think of it. I mean, it's really not that big of a map. They should have had like more. I personally don't like the way it plays out. At least it's a little difficult. I'll give them that. It's a little difficult. Maybe high D tier, or maybe very, very low C tier. Like, it's a decent map. It's more difficult than these. I gotta give them credit for that. Like, these maps, again, I liked back in the day, but I would just not play these anymore because they're too easy and, you know, maybe too dull. I think 9 maybe belongs here, right in front of Riese, because personally, I'd rather play 9. 9's a little bit more difficult, but again, it has a lot of disappointing factors, but overall 9 wasn't the biggest disappointment, at least in my view. I'm trying to be objective here. I know some of you might like it more or less, as with all these maps. I'm trying my best to picture, I guess the ultimate thing about all these maps, right, is how replayable are they? You know, Origin's super replayable, we've all played 100 times. Eisendrache, Shadows, like Mob of the Dead, Buried, you know, of course it goes less and less as we go. These maps, you just don't play anymore, and it's not even, I don't even think it's just because we're all burnt out, we played too much. I think it's, we have higher standards, and all these maps have way more. And with that being said, I think 9's more replayable than these Black Ops 1 originals, but honestly, I think Verrukt just achieved its goal better. 9 just didn't. Like, you don't feel like a badass when you're playing 9. You get the Wonder Weapon, and it's, like, cool, but it feels weak, and it has terrible sound effects. The map itself plays out weird. Like, it's somewhat difficult. I'll give them credit where it's due. It's not the easiest Black Ops 4 map like some of them are to get to high rounds. But we're going to leave it there. Maybe we'll move it. Then we get to Voyage of Despair, a map I really do like. I like Voyage a lot. It has its issues. Like any other map in Black Ops 4 and like what we talked about with Krovi, for some reason they felt the need to let you buy infinite wonder weapon ammo. I really don't know whose idea this was, but like the map would be nearly perfect without that strategy. Voyage of Despair, aesthetically great. You're on the Titanic, it looks great, it's nighttime, it's what we like, it's dark, it's eerie, it's difficult to set up. I really like the way this map played out, especially when Black Ops 4 came out. I played this map so much, and again, bias aside, I think this is one of the better BO4 maps. Like it or hate it, had elemental wonder weapons. Now, 2 or 3 of them were absolute garbage, so I understand your frustration there, but like, other than the frustrating wonder weapons, like not all the elementals being good, what don't you like about the map? Like, honestly, I think most of you would just say, oh, I don't like the ship idea, I don't like it being the Titanic. Like, it's definitely somewhat difficult. Again, infinite wonder weapon ammo definitely breaks it a little. I'm just gonna try and exclude that, you know, one part of it. The rest of the map plays out pretty good. It's relatively difficult, it's relatively eerie. I think it's a beautiful map. I think it plays out very well. It's a big map, even though it's just like this boat. It's a big map. There's teleporters to get around and traverse the area relatively well. I'll be honest, I have never completed the Easter egg. I have made it to the boss fight and died. Personally, I think the Easter egg is relatively well made. I think it plays out decently. There's a lot of Easter eggs on this map and some other BO4 ones a lot of people don't know, but Voyage has like a lot of hidden Easter eggs that like people just don't care about because the game is dead. I really do like Voyage of Despair. I really do genuinely believe it's a solid map, even on the Black Ops 4 engine. I think this has to be like a high B tier map. I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me, but again, it's difficult. It plays out well. Again, infinite wonder weapon ammo for camping makes it a little too easy and stupid, but like even with that, it can definitely be difficult to get to high rounds. Like, people aren't just hitting around 255 every single second on this map like they are with, you know, maps like Shadows, Horizon, Origins. Then we get to Blood of the Dead. Oh, Blood of the Dead. Listen, I loved Mob of the Dead, and then I loved Blood of the Dead a lot. It's just like the last ones we talked about. It has the one thing that ruins the whole map, and what is it? It's the trap. When you first leave spawn and you go down to the right and you're feeding the first dog, there's a trap right there that is the most overpowered trap in zombies history, other than maybe 1 or 2 in Alpha Omega. But Blood of the Dead, the setup is relatively difficult. It's relatively eerie. It's not the worst map, you know, in terms of they didn't make it too like shiny and colorful and happy and everything and easy. Like, it's relatively difficult to set up and get the Hell's Redeemer and to do other parts of the setup and do the Easter egg. I don't think it's the worst map. The wonder weapon was very lazy. The magma gat, very, very lazy. No one really likes using it because they nerfed it. I don't know where this one belongs. I think D tier seems right to me. I mean, like, I like it. It's maybe a low C tier, because again, I think it plays out relatively well. But that trap strat makes it, like, if you just took out the trap in Blood of the Dead, the world record would be like 120, 150, maybe 200. Right now, for those who don't know, the Blood of the Dead record is like 400, which is nuts. And it could go higher, but all you have to do is turn on a trap and use time slip. Like, it doesn't play out well at all with those traps being so overpowered. But, you know, aside from that, it really does play out like a decent map, which is why I'm hesitant to put it in D tier. Like, here's how Blood of the Dead would be. If it didn't have the trap, I think it would be a B tier map somewhere up here. Blood of the Dead was cooler when it came out because you only had 150 HP and the Hellhounds were really good. But then everyone, like, I'm not even going to list YouTubers that I really despise for this, but a lot of people complained, were like, oh, Black Ops 4 is too hard. So what did Treyarch do? They made it easier. They gave everyone 50 more health. They nerfed the Hellhounds. They nerfed the zombies. And it made it not as fun. But like Blood of the Dead when it first came out was way more fun. But I think now, honestly, I think I'm going to put D tier just because, again, it's not that replayable. I haven't played this map in over a year, maybe like a year and a half. Like, just because it's not that attractive, you know? I don't want to set up just to train and use the trap. It's just, it makes it way less fun. At the end of the day, the most important factor of this tier list is how replayable is the map, how fun it is. Like, sure, there's aesthetics, you know, there's how difficult is the setup, and, you know, the wonder weapon's cool, but at the end of the day, Blood of the Dead is just a map no one likes replaying. You play it once or twice, maybe for the Easter egg, but overall, I think it's just a disappointing map because it didn't come out how we wanted it to, and a lot of other aspects, but at least aesthetically it gets some points. I'll put it above these maps, but overall rather disappointing map. So then we get to Dead of the Night, and I'm a broken record at this point. The exact same thing as Blood of the Dead. Fantastic map. I think it plays out well. It's relatively difficult. You know, maybe not fantastic, but it plays out really well. It's pretty difficult to set up, and high rounds would be super hard. Like Dead of the Night, high rounds would be very, very difficult. Like the world record would be like 100, maybe 150 at max. If it weren't for one thing. What is it, everyone in the comments? Silver bullets. For some reason, Treyarch thought it would be a good idea to let you buy infinite ammo for any infinite damage weapon. So what does everyone do? You take the Helion Salvo, the launcher, you bring PhD, you sit beside the silver bullets table, and you shoot the ground. I don't know what they were thinking when they made a launcher do infinite damage. I mean, they made all guns do infinite damage, even without double packs. That's insane, but Dead of the Night would play out so well because it's really hard to train anywhere else on the map if it weren't for that one strategy. So, now listen, I would have different opinions if this were the case, which is if the world record site, because I base a lot of this off zombie records as well, because I think that's important, because it makes you think, because if the record community is more alive, that means the map's more alive, it's being played more, it means there's more to do on the map. But the record community, the record website no longer bans silver bullets. I think it's because they allow you to play on hardcore or realistic mode, which I haven't considered a lot for some of these BO4 maps, but like Blood of the Dead, it doesn't matter because the trap is always OP, but like Dead of the Night realistic mode, it gets a little harder, but like even on realistic mode, people are hitting like 50, 60, 70 plus, 80 plus. That's nuts because this one thing. So just like all these other maps, how do I take this one thing? I have to weigh it down a little, but I'm going to try and still be objective. I think this is a great map. Like, it plays out nice. The setup is fun. It's a pretty good aesthetic. I like being in this big mansion. Then you go in the forest. The werewolf chases you. The Easter egg is It's not the craziest. Just like 9. I didn't mention that. And then Blood Dead's Easter egg is Dead of the Night, I think, personally, I think it's better than 9. But it's too easy because of the one strategy. So again, this is why it's so hard, right? This one strategy ruins the whole high round community. But so how important is the high round community if you're a casual player, you know? It's tough. It is tough. It is tough. I'm trying to think of it, man. Maybe here. I think it's probably better than Verrukt because there's more to do, a lot more to do. I think the Wonder Weapon is very cool in Dead of the Night. I think the Wonder Weapon is a great balance in Dead of the Night because it's not super overpowered and it's very hard to upgrade because you can upgrade it twice, I believe. I could be wrong on that, but I believe you get it and then you can upgrade it twice. I really do like the way Dead of the Night plays out as a map. You got the Wonder Weapon, you got the werewolves. The map itself is hard to, you know, run around. It's tight corners for most part. Relatively eerie, good storyline. I think it's a solid map. In fact, I could see it being above Revelations. It just sucks because this one strategy makes it worse. But by that, you know, by that same token, Revelations and a lot of these other maps, you know, with like, at least for specifically Revelations, yeah, just, you could camp with the Apothecon Serve until 200 plus, so is it any better? So, I think Dead of the Night, I'm actually going to leave here. I think people would kill me if I put it above Kino. Because again, Kino's, I think, just like where you have to leave this marker, this line in the sand. Kino is where it's too nostalgic, it's too simple, you know, like, core mechanics are too good. So, like, I really did like Dead of the Night. I feel it played out so well. I really genuinely believe that this one strategy just makes it easier than Revelations, easier than Ascension, and that, I feel like, you have to leave it down. And plus, I feel like objectively, a lot of people don't like the aesthetic as much as I do. I still think it's a solid map, but I think Dead of the Night. Alrighty, so then we get into Ancient Evil, and this map just was a disappointment on all fronts. The Ancient Greece idea was actually relatively cool when you go in that one cool room with the Pack-a-Punch, but I'll grant this map is a little bit harder than Dead of the Night. There's not like this one super OP strategy. There's like a good trap, and the shield is OP like most maps. The shield is very OP, but the shield ruins a lot of the maps actually, but Ancient Evil is just so disappointing because they already had this disappointing map, and what do they do for the Wonder Weapons? They went with the Elemental Fists, which was the exact same as the Elemental Staffs, the Elemental Bows, the Elemental Krakens. Like, we already had this rinsed and washed 3 times, and I think the map concept is what... I think I'll leave this D tier, because personally I hate the map. I would put it in F tier, but again, my bias aside, I think this map itself is just so disappointing. Like, you can like it, But what do you like about it? You probably just like the aesthetic. Like, the setup isn't that hard. It's more so just like tedious and weird and random. Like, other than the aesthetic of the map, what else plays good? The wonder weapons are not fun to use, and they're not powerful. There's like the air, I don't even remember them. There's the air one. It feels powerful, but you run out of ammo too quick. And then all the others are just, like, you get this earth one, you think you're gonna earth bend or like shoot rocks, and all you do is like have flowers come out of the ground. And it's like, oh. So I think this is a low D tier map. It's just not replayable. I'm being serious right now. And I played all these maps at least once. And when BO4 came out, I was grinding these maps constantly. I played a lot of 9, a ton of Voyage of Despair, a lot of Blood of the Dead. I have only played Ancient Evil 3 times total. And my highest round ever is only like 30. Like, I got that bored that quickly. And that was, I didn't look up any tutorials, and I figured out everything on the map basically, except for like a couple of the fist upgrades. But this map was just so disappointing. If you like it for the aesthetic. I can see that, but objectively, this is one of the least replayable maps. I've actually played Zetsubou more than it, but Zetsubou is just down here because of all the bugs, and this is only here because I think some of you guys might like it more than me aesthetically. The Ancient Greece concept was decent, but I don't think the map was big enough to play out how they expected it to. The map is like really small, which was really disappointing. But we're not done yet, boys, so we're just going to go over really quick Alpha, Omega, and Tagged and Toten. Alpha Omega is going to be F tier. I'm going to try and edit in a picture. This is a solid F tier map. 0 questions asked. If you like this map, I don't know what you like it for. Please in the comments, if you like Alpha Omega, I'm being serious, like, tell me what you enjoy. We've already seen Nuketown twice, like, oh yeah, so real quick note while I'm ranting. Black Ops 2's Nuketown, I probably would put higher. I didn't put that in because there wasn't town or bus depot or farm. I didn't put Nuketown in for kind of that same reason. Farm, I probably would have put like, or excuse me, Nuketown for Black Ops 2 probably would have went somewhere in C tier. That's where I would have put like Black Ops 2 Nuketown. But Black Ops 4's Nuketown was it is the laziest map in Zombies history. It is by far the laziest map Treyarch has ever made for multiplayer, for zombies, for campaign, ever. I can guarantee it. I mean, what is good about this map? They didn't even put a new wonder weapon. At least they gave us elemental ray gun Mark IIs, but I would have rather just had no wonder weapon because the elemental ray gun Mark IIs made it feel like it was lazier. Now again, you're all saying, well, you can't judge off how lazy it was. How does it actually play out? Is it fun? I've played Alpha Omega once ever. That's it. Because as soon as I watched the Easter egg, it looked boring. The cutscene is so dull. It's not interesting at all. It's all two-dimensional. I just don't know what there's like about this map. Like, if it was the first time I was seeing Nuketown zombies, maybe. But we already saw Black Ops 2 zombies on Nuketown, and that was a good map. It was fun, challenging, different. It was eerie. We liked that because we all love Nuketown. Black Ops 4 already had a crappy Nuketown in multiplayer, and then for the zombies Nuketown, they made it brighter. They made it bright as day, clear as day. It's not scary. It's not hard whatsoever. You have infinite damage traps. You have wonder weapons that are rewatched. This map is terrible, so I'm going to edit in right here. No, I think Nuketown is below Zetsubou. No, yeah, Nuketown Alpha Omega is going to get Tranzit tier. That's what we're doing. I mean, it is such a bad and lazy map. I've played it once. It wasn't fun. I mean, it was decent. Like, it's cool to see some of the stuff because it's the first time seeing anything new, but the map is so small. The Easter egg wasn't cool at all when I watched it, watched the boss fight. Any of it, no part of that was cool. Again, maybe just me, but I'm trying to be objective here. We've already seen the map. It wasn't hard. It wasn't eerie. The wonder weapons weren't cool, and the map is like super easy and brain dead. It's so rewashed. That's going to be Tranzit tier. And then we're going to get to our last map, Tagged or Toten. Tagged or Toten is going to get F tier. I'm like pretty certain of it, and here's why. I think personally, Tagged or Toten is more fun and replayable than Ancient Evil. I'll be honest there. I've played Tagged or Toten like 4 times total. And just for reference, I've played probably all these other maps close to 300 to 500 times. Like, I've played Origins easily, like 100, 200, 300 plus times, or Eisendrache, a few hundred plus. Like, most of you have played a lot of these maps hundreds of times. They're so fun. I have played Tagged or Toten a total like 3 or 4 times, and like 2 of them are on my channel. Like, I don't know what to say about Tagged or Toten, right? Like, the wonder weapons were like, I like the concept of them changing the wonder waff a little, but they made it way worse, which sucked. The Tundra gun was a cool concept, but it sucked. And then, but I like that they had the original Thunder Gun, and I like that you can get a free Thunder Gun. I kind of like the way that played out, so maybe Ancient Evil is going to go in F tier, and then and then Tagger and Tone goes up here. I'm really not sure. It's not the easiest map on planet Earth. Like, I don't even remember because I haven't played it that much. I don't even remember, like, anything about the Easter egg, because at this point, Black Ops 4 destroyed the, like, storyline. No one could keep track of it. No one enjoyed it anymore. So, like, no one knew what was going on. No one cares about the Easter egg. I genuinely have never even... I don't even remember what the Easter egg cutscene is now at the top of my head. I really don't. I have no idea what it is. I've never done the Easter egg. I don't know what's there to like about Tagger Tone. I mean, it's decent when you play it the first few times. Again, it's like a new map, but it's a remaster of Call of the Dead, so we've already seen it. It has 2 wonder weapons we've already seen, and it's a worse version of Call of the Dead, because Call of the Dead is cool because it's nighttime, it's eerie, it's snowy, you're in like a blizzard. Like, it's so cool, that environment you're in, but then Tagger Tone's just sunny as day. Like, I think Die Rise is the only map where it's sunny that actually plays out well. Like, it doesn't ruin it. But, like, I don't know what Tagger and Tone was shooting for. You guys let me know. Does Tagger and Tone belong in Transit tier, F tier, or D tier? I'm trying to think. I know I don't even have it here to show you guys, but I'm going to pretend to edit it in here. I think Tagger and Tone... No, it's Transit tier. I've thought about it. It's too rewashed. Like, the new Wunderwaffe and Thunder Gun that are garbage just isn't enough for me. I think Tagger and Tone is going to be in our Transit tier. I mean, you guys let me know down below what you guys think, but I'm going to wrap this up. I've talked way too much. When I first started recording this, I thought it was going to be like a 10-20 minute video. I'm like, this will be way shorter than my Wonder Weapons, but as you guys all know, I love to rant and I talk way too much, so pretty disappointing there. But yeah, we're going to try to wrap this up here. Again, Black Ops 2 Nuketown we didn't put in there. We probably would put in C tier. And then the last 2 Black Ops 4 DLCs just weren't included on the tier list because I believe the person who made it, Ultimus 10, I believe he made it before they were out. So those last 2, yeah, we'd probably put down here in Transit tier, you know, somewhere in this bottom sector. Such terrible maps. But overall, I think we did a decent job. Again, it's hard to compare because I tried to go off how replayable they are in the current time, which I know makes the older maps seem worse, but these maps are just so small. Numa, Nacht, and like Riese, they're so small in Verrukt. There's just not a whole lot to do. And, you know, they're extremely easy for high rounds, except for like maybe Nacht or Verrukt. But like, I think we did a decent job. Again, I kept my bias aside. In my personal experience and my personal opinion, my favorite map of all time would be like Shadows or Buried. And they'd both be like my S tier, and then like Krovi would be like A tier. But I tried to be as objective as possible. Transit, I think a lot of you are gonna hate me for, but at the end of the day, guys, think about it objectively. What don't you like about Transit? You're all gonna say denizens. Do denizens really ruin the map? Like, how, like, you just knife them once or twice and they're off you. It's not a big deal. I really do think Transit's a decent map. I think it's better than all these. Now, Kino. Ooh, if you guys, you Kino lovers, you Black Ops 1 players are going to dislike the video. I know you are, I know, but I'm being genuine in terms of, you know, how replayable they are, how well they play out, how beautiful they are aesthetically, or how eerie they are aesthetically. I think this is in order how they play out. Again, Origins, I think, is our only S tier. I could see Eisendrache being up there. I think Shadows of Evil could be up there, but Mob Dead as well. These are all very good. I think our A tier is good. I think maybe Die Rise could be A tier, but I'm going to leave it B tier because I think objectively people think it's a little bit more frustrating, not as fun. I can see that. Then Gorod, then Voyage of Despair, then our Black Ops 1 DLCs. 5, I think, belongs there. This seems about right to me. These 3 are probably really controversial. And then the maps just start getting super boring, and then it's like no one would play any of these maps anymore. And then you get the Zetsubou, and then Alpha, and then Tag. I've ranted a lot. Let me know down below what I got wrong. Please let me know what you think about Transit. Let me know what you think about the Black Ops 4 maps like 9. Let me know what you think about like Moon and Shangri-La, Call of the Dead. You guys think they should be higher or lower? Is Origins the best map of all time? Please let me know down below. I really appreciate the input. As always, I put a ton of time into this. It takes hours to edit and render this, hours to upload. So I really appreciate if you guys drop a like and subscribe if you're new. I got awesome content coming in the near future. I've been struggling a lot to upload and stream just because busy in real life and trying to figure out what to stream and upload. It's been in a weird spot because I hosted an entire tournament, but it all fell apart. But I got awesome stuff coming. I really do appreciate the support, guys. It means so much to me. I really hope you all have a fantastic evening. I'll catch you all soon. Peace!